Most of my time I was in church, so I was doing a lot of church, but we were playing a lot of activities inside the church, like your gumboots dance inside the church. We had a soccer inside the church.
You were doing gumboot dance?
Yes.
Do you have photos, videos?
The videos are there in the church. I can be able to get it if I wanted, yeah.
Pull one for us, for the sake of content. Welcome to the men's channel. You've been following him. You love him. You love what he's teaching. You love what he stands for. So he decided to make a video, especially for everyone who's been following him, to just say, let me break down the journey that you've been following in numbers, in a lesson. 30 minutes that hopefully will change your life. 30 minutes that you can follow practically as tips. Yes. Welcome to your channel, man. I got you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming through.
You called us to do this interview on your channel, just because in your heart you have something that you want to share.
Yes. I feel like for many years I've been teaching lessons, and then I wanted a practical lesson that I can be able to teach to people, something that I can start from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So this house, I used it as a practical lesson for everyone to learn, because when I started sharing about this house, it was still owing 1,258,993. The first day I started to share about this house, to say I'm having intentions to pay it off. And then so I got a chance to go through all those numbers with the people that were watching, to see how I'm doing it, and then how it's reducing and how it's going, even though it was a lot of challenges for us to reach here, but it was a good one to go with somebody holding them by hand to see practically what you are doing. Yeah,
it's cool for me because me and the gents are here, and you said you're giving us the vendor welcome. Do you want tea or juice or coffee? Apparently we can't sit here without food, so thank you. We welcome the offer.
No, it's okay.
If you are looking at the journey and the screenshots, why did you decide to do it that way? In public and show people, guys, I'm in debt by over $1 million.
Yes.
Watch me pay this.
Yes. I feel like as teachers of financial literacy, I feel like most of us we talk and and then people want to see like practical evidence of things that you are talking about. And then I wanted to give them that because I'm very practical. I'm a practical person. I write all the numbers down and I want to see numbers making sense. So I'm a practical person, and I wanted them to go through that practical experiment so that they can be able to do it for themselves, because it doesn't help just to say PC has achieved this and then you didn't learn anything which you are going to practice in your own life, and then you can be able to pay off debts as soon as possible.
Did you think it might not be a solid lesson if something happens and it takes you long to pay it? You start off motivated and saying, guys, I'm on fire, I'm gonna do this quickly. 13 years later, you didn't have anything in you that says, what if?
Yes. The good part is that I've done it before, because I've paid off a house before, between 2015 and 2018. So I'm still using the same principles.
I love that.
And then what is happening is just that the house value has changed, but the principle is still the same. I'm still implementing the very same thing that I was doing in 2015. It's what I'm doing now.
So the value of the first house was lower,
yes,
but it showed you that this is possible.
Yes.
And you just applied the principle to a house that was worth more.
Yes.
It's like David, in the Bible, meeting Goliath and saying, nah, I've done this before. Everyone else is scared.
No, that's a good one.
But for you, you're like, I've got
I've done this before. Yes. So I was not really that scared. even though it wanted me to sacrifice again, it's like I was going back to my days of sacrificing that extreme. And then, but it was important for me to do that. And yeah.
Having a journey like that out,
Yes.
out in the public,
Yes.
you must have received some criticism.
Yes.
What were some of those negative comments that came and had you drinking coffee?
There's a lot of them. Number one is that a lot of people, since I started teaching,
Yeah.
they couldn't believe, even in my first house where I was saving 15,000 every month. They felt like this guy is lying. It's not possible for somebody to do that. So from the beginning, it has always been criticism. But what is amazing is I'm always receiving results. It's like people are giving me criticism, I'm just getting results, which is good for me. And then I don't let it to distract me, because there is a lot of comments that I get to say, no, it's not practically possible to do that. And I like it, because it shows that what we are doing, we are changing the norm. It's not the way people are used to doing things. People are used to say, if you buy a house now, after 20 years, that's when you will have finished paying it off. So to somebody to come and say, no, my first house, I paid it in 3 years, and this one I paid it in 3 years, 3 months, because I was supposed to pay it for 240 months. But now in the app, it's showing that there's still 201 months remaining, which means I finished it in 39 months, which is exactly 3 years, 3 months.
What was your favorite subject growing up?
I think maths. Was...
Dude, the way you remember numbers.
I think maths has always been the favorite one.
You are very concise with numbers, Joe. I thought I was good with numbers, but no. You are levels.
And it makes sense, because if you don't start this early, you might have problem to adopt to it. It will take you longer to adopt to it. Because for me, I've studied it 15 years. So I've been doing this for 15 years. So it's something that I don't plan to do anymore. It's more like my lifestyle. My lifestyle, it's about saving and
so
all that.
it became a habit
that just stuck with me, because I don't plan to say month end I must save. It's something that I know that if I receive money, I must put part of that money into saving. So that's how it has always been for the last 15 years of my career. So for me, it's like I'm used to living a simple life. So when my salary is increasing, my life is still very simple, and then it becomes easy to save more, because your income is increasing, but your lifestyle is still really minimum. Yeah.
When you talk to your peers
Yes.
at work,
Yes.
and just around in your
Yes.
social circles, and
Yes.
they see the car you're driving,
Yes.
don't you have a conversation that says,
Yes.
you're not at the level of this car now, you should be driving a car worth $1 million or 2 million or something?
No, that's always the case. I remember I even went to another event somewhere. When I arrived there, the person who was hosting the event, he even said to me, it's obvious that if you are driving this car, you left something at home in your garage. Because he was expecting a better car than the car that I'm driving. And when we are talking about cars, even last year I was involved in an accident, and then I had a chance to upgrade my car. I remember I went and inquired about BMW, and then everything was actually just close to being finalized. Then I'm the one who went and said, no, I'm pulling out of this deal, because I was thinking of this house to say I have a goal of paying off this house as soon as possible. So if I have to take a bigger car, it's going to take me way longer to achieve it. So it's those sacrifices that I make. And then I feel like it's reaching the end of those sacrifices. I think like I'm in the end of sacrificing time. It's coming where I will drive proper cars. Yes.
Are you going to post the evidence or something? Because someone will say, now I want to see it. Or I guess that you'll have to come to one of the events and go outside when he's arriving.
So right. That's one of the criticism. And
what's
then the other criticism, it's people asking me, okay, your first house, you paid it in 3 years.
Yeah.
The value was 522,000. If you are able to pay it off in 3 years, why didn't you just buy a more expensive house?
So that it's harder to pay in 3 years. But you live nicer.
So that's the question people always ask. You were not supposed to be in that house at the first place. But I don't see it that way. Because I feel like people are saying, when I take a credit, I must take it at the maximum. Yes. I must take it at the maximum. And that's not how I want it. I feel like you must have a break in between. You must not take a credit to your maximum when things like now where the VAT is increased by 0.5%. 0.5, then you are worried to say, I'm not able to pay for this. Even with COVID, it shows us that a lot of people had taken credit on the maximum. So by the time the interest went up, they were not able to pay for their debts anymore. A lot of houses, when you go to websites such as My Roof, which they show houses which are being repossessed, you get to see that people are going through a lot. They are losing their houses because they had taken the credit on the maximum. So I feel like it's important for us when we take debts. There's something called a credit utilization ratio. To say if they say you qualify for 30,000, it doesn't necessarily mean you must take a house of 30,000. You can take a house which you are paying 25,000. Then you've got this 5,000 which you can fluctuate with when the interest is going up and down.
Which you could use for extra payments.
Yes, you can also
at least
use
it's a
for
safety
extra
margin.
payment. Yes. So people always say that. Even for this one, there was a lot of people who were posting to say, if you could pay 1,314,000 in 3 years, 3 months, why didn't you take a more
a house for 3
house?
million?
So it's like people are always expecting a more expensive house from me, and then I'm upgrading in my own terms. Like this house now, I'm close to moving out from it, so I'm upgrading in my own terms, and it's working for me because after 3 years of staying in a house, I feel like there's a need for me to upgrade.
I get you. Yeah. Is there another criticism or someone who challenged you on something else?
There's a lot, but these are the two.
Is the one who said something that sent you sleeping? Because haters, there's some that are not so emotionally intelligent.
Yes, okay, no. There is a lot of, there are other good ones, which I feel like people are thinking this is a good criticism. Because somebody said, okay, you paid off your house. Why didn't you take this 1,314,000 and invest it to make returns? Which is a good idea to say, why didn't you invest? And I also believe in that. And I've done it before where instead of paying off things, I was investing that money in other properties. I've done it before, but you ask yourself until when. Sometimes you need a house which is really yours, which is fully paid up. This house is more like my safe net. If I go whenever I'm going and things goes bad, I can always come here. This is a free house where I can stay for free. Yeah.
This is a masterclass. If you were to say some of the lessons you've learned along the way, what are the lessons that stand out that you want everyone that's following you to pick up?
Yeah. I think the first one will be extra payment. How important it is for us to pay that extra amount on our bond. And then when we talk about extra payment, I wouldn't like to say a person must pay this much extra. I feel like it's when you get money, consider paying a portion of that money into your bond. So that's what I was doing. There was a time when I was paying a house nearly every day, because if I'm getting money from somewhere, I was converting that money into paying off the house. Let's say you invite me as a guest speaker to come speak. If you pay me, I'm going to take a portion of that money and make sure that I pay it towards the house. So it was more like it's something that I'm continuously doing. I was not waiting for month end to pay for my house.
That's actually a lesson on its own. Yes. Don't have one stream of income.
Yes, that's very important. That's very important. It's important to especially now in this time, because things are not going so well for the country, and I feel like it's important for us to have different stream of income and to venture into different things. I mean, it's not those days where we say it's shameful to sell. You have to go out there and see what can I sell and what can I do in order to generate extra money. And sometimes getting a lot of jobs is not a solution to say I will work during the day for this company and in the evening I will work. I feel like you will end up burning yourself because of having a lot of jobs. You need some income that are coming without you being too involved, actively involved. Then you can be able to be in a good place, because you still need time to rest, you still need time of yourself. Yes.
And it takes time to build that kind of income, right?
Yes,
There's work that you do up front.
Yes.
All right, so you got a letter from the bank saying congratulations, you paid off your house. And someone will ask you, if I get to that level at some point, what comes next?
Yes. Yeah, for the first thing, I was even amazed to get a email from the bank, because on my first house they didn't even send me anything. But now I was so impressed to see that email to say, okay, no, this is good. But they was just saying, are you going to close your account? It's paid up, it's in zero balance. This is a form that you must fill in order for cancellation of this bond. And then and there's a lot of people who even ask me to say, when you pay off a house, do you cancel the bond or you must leave it active?
Okay.
Because this bond is going to mature in the next 17 years. It's going to mature in the next 17 years. So it means I can leave it open for the next 17 years. But now you've got access to funds, which means if I see a house now for 1,300,000, I can be able to withdraw that money and go and buy that house without me going through the normal process of qualifying and submitting my pay slip and so on. I just go and withdraw that money and buy another house. So it's more like you have a bank of your own, which you can access money from there. But it's important again to say, if you've got that bank, it's important for you to close it, to contact the bank and say they must not allow me to be able to just withdraw from the phone. It should be something that maybe you go inside the bank to access, because of the safety and all the...
Safety in what way?
In terms of, I mean, if you've got money, it means if you lose your phone, somebody can transfer that money somewhere else. Okay. So you need that safety where it's not easily accessible just from your phone. You have to go into the bank to access the extra money that you have paid. Because what happens is that when you are paying extra, that money is still yours.
Yeah.
And then you can be able to withdraw it. If you pay an extra 500,000, it's there. You can be able to go today and withdraw it and use it for other things, because you paid extra above what the bank wanted you to pay.
Does that money earn you interest?
It doesn't earn you interest, but this is the good part about it. It's like this. Let's say you are owing a house of 1.3 million.
Yeah.
You are expected to pay 14,000 on the bond.
Monthly.
Monthly. And then you've got $1 million in your hand. So the question is, should I put this $1 million in the bond or should I put it in a bank? Because if you put it in the bond, your debt, it means you will remain only with 300,000. Because it was 1.3, you put $1 million, you only have 300,000.
And so interest on your loan is calculated on what's left.
It's calculated. That's where I'm going. It's calculated on what's left. So if you are owing around 1.3 million, it means the bank is taking around 13,000 on interest, and then the house is only dropping by 1,000 if you are paying 14,000. It means you pay 14,000 into the bank, then your debt only drops by 1,000, and then the 13,000 is interest.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you go now and you pay the million into that house, you are left with 300,000, which means the bank might be taking around 3,000. When you pay 14,000, now your house is dropping by 11,000 because they are taking only 3,000 on the interest. But if you go and put a million in the bank today, you can get something like 6,000 on interest. So what you are comparing your house dropping by 10,000 or earning 6,000 every month. Which one is better? And then what is better is it's this one. And then the good part is that a debt is not taxed. So when you put your money on a debt, you are not going to be taxed. But when you put your money on the bank, the moment you reach 23,800, you start to be taxed. When you earn more than 23,800 on interest, you start to be taxed. You are being taxed just for saving. They start to tax you. So you decide to say, where should I put my money? If I put my money here, my house is dropping by 11,000. If I put my money here, I'm only getting 6,000 that is going to be taxed in a few months.
All right.
Yes.
No, that makes sense. When you say safety, you know what I thought of?
Yes.
I thought if someone wants to be like you
Yes.
and say, I want to post this evidence,
Yes.
don't they run the risk of
Yes.
attracting criminals to
Yes.
say, Amos, there's money here.
Yes.
Posting every day.
It depends on what are you posting. Obviously, if you are posting your account to say, I have this money, then you'll put yourself at a risk. But if you are talking about a debt to say, I paid off a car, it's not money that is there in the bank. It's more like me now. I was even saying it to
Paying
other people. I was even saying it to other people that when you go to my bank now, I don't have the money that you might think I have. Yeah, so because my money was going into debt. It's like when I receive money, I was paying into a debt. I was not more saving. But there were days in the past where I was just saving and saving and saving. But now I focus mainly on paying debts and all that. Yeah.
Why are you not afraid of debt, man?
Yes.
Because that is the one thing that has ruined so many people's life. But for you, it's like, yeah, you take it on autopilot. You cruise control with it.
I always say a debt, if you have a debt, you see a debt, yes, a debt. And then you look at it, you are like, okay, this is a debt. If I'm going to take it, can I be able to transfer its repayment into somebody else? Then if you can be able to transfer its repayment to somebody else, then it's a good debt that you should be taking as many as possible, because you are not going to be the one to service this debt, but it's going to leave you with profit. So that's a good debt, because you go and I'm just there for taking off the debt. I'm not there for servicing of the debt, because I'm just gonna be having somebody who's paying for that debt.
So in this case, you take a debt, you buy a house, then you get Josh to come and live in that house and service that debt for you.
Yes, and then but it's not only like that, because I'm providing them with accommodation which they need. So it's more like we are scratching each other's back.
Is there another lesson that stands out for you that you would want everyone who's following you to learn from this journey that you've been on?
Yeah. I feel like one of the things we don't say is that it's not easy to go through this journey, because a lot of people, when they look at us, they feel like, no, this guy is having it easy. But it's those sacrifices that you make and people don't get to see. I remember another lady contacted me a few weeks back. She was like, do you remember back in 2015 when I was visiting you, and then you had a shoe that was damaged, and then you were using a glue to fix the shoe.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then you understand, those are the sacrifices that people maybe they don't get to see. And then now when maybe you have reached somewhere, they only see the results. They don't see the sacrifices that you have to go through. So I feel like one of the lessons is that it's not easy, and then there are sacrifices that you need to make behind the scene, which are important for where you are going. But obviously with time, you will reach a place where spending money is no more an option. It's no more a problem, because now you've got that cash flow. It's like going to a restaurant. For me in the past, going to a restaurant a lot, it was a big no. But now if you tell me, let's go to a restaurant, I don't count it as an expense. It's not something that is expensive for me to do. But it's those things. Over time, when you are building and building, most of the things which used to be very difficult for you to do, they become easy. To do, because they don't damage your pocket.
I like it. I think Alex Omozi put it in context as well. You are saying sometimes you look at someone and saying they are wasting money. How can they spend $1,000 on lunch?
Yes.
And if you look at how much they're earning, $1,000 is like 0.0002%. To you, it's your whole salary.
Yeah, no, there's those ones. And then I was looking at how much I was paying for all my houses combined. One day I was just calculating how much am I paying for all the houses that I have. And then what I realized is that the amount that I'm paying, it's 1,000 different from the amount that I get from my salary. So let's say I get a take home of.
Don't put numbers. It's fine. We don't want crime following you.
Yes.
So it's a good example to say you realized at some point you got to a level where all these payments for all your hustles were almost equal to your salary.
Yes. The payment for the houses, like the payment that I was paying before I paid off this house, when I combine all the payments, they are equal to the amount I'm getting from my employer, from a 9 to 5. Which means if you are working at this 9 to 5 without doing any side things, you wouldn't be able to pay for all these houses, because it's taking the whole take home for me to pay just for the houses. Yes. Beautiful. Then you realize there are benefits at the end of the road where you are able to do things which they are above your salary. Before, you used to focus on doing things below your salary, so that in the future you can be able to do things above your salary.
Okay. Is there a warning you have to someone who will listen to you, get inspired, and run for debt?
Yes,
but they don't have your habits and your discipline.
Yes, I always say, because we teach that if you want to build your credit score, you must get a credit card. But for most people, it ends up being a downfall, because you are going to take this credit card without having the discipline. Because the most important thing is the discipline. If you have the discipline, then it will work for you. But if you don't have the discipline, then it will be a downfall. So it's very important for us to acquire first discipline, and also do research about what do you want to do, because there's a lot of bad investment out there, and there's a lot of things that you can say. You can think in your mind that that investment is going to work. And then when you start to do it practically, you realize that it's not working. It's like people who just have an idea to say, I want to start a business. Then you go and resign from your work without trying that business on the ground. It's like you just have it in your mind. You feel like, if I have the money, it will work. But it doesn't work like that. Yes.
Lovely, man. We are done for now. The man has decided to start sharing some content and some lessons. So do me a favor, or do yourself a favor. In the comments, throw in some of the questions that you have. Some questions that you feel Ntando, you should have asked him this one. This is what I want to know. This is where I am. I need to know what my next move is. throw in as many questions as you're thinking of in the comments.
Yes.
And the challenge I'm giving him,
Yes.
we're going to take all those questions and he's going to create another video just to answer your question. So
Okay.
the challenge is set.
No, that's a good one. But I wanted to say this, to say, for me, when I was doing this journey of this house,
Yeah.
I told myself this is the last house that I'm going to tell people that I've paid off. I feel like this is my last house for paying it off in public. I will still do a lot of things in private, but in terms of going with people in the journey, I felt like this is the sacrifice that I'm making, to say this house, I'm gonna do it with you throughout the journey, and it will be the last house I'm doing in the public. Yeah.
That's an important thing to say,
Yes.
and especially to say that you will continue investing.
Yes.
I believe you have shared your heart,
Yes.
and we have the lessons out there. They are in
Yes.
public. Anyone
Yes.
who Googles your name will
Yes.
find them.
Yes.
They'll find the screenshots.
Yes.
So it's good because
Yes.
I hope you are not going to stop teaching.
Yes. No. Teaching will be teaching. It's just that it won't be practical as this house. Yes.
No, it will be practical. It just won't be public. But yeah, that's it.
Yes.
See you in the next video. Check. Remember to throw
Yes.
in those questions in the
Yes.
comments and
Yes.
just give the brother some love, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.